A daughter's nightmare, the father who replaced her mother in 30 days. Your mother is dying of cancer. You're there holding her hand through the final month. She's scared, she's crying. And she tells you her deepest fear, that after she's gone, your stepdad will marry his childhood best friend. Your stepdad promises it won't happen. He assures everyone, multiple times, 30 days after your mother dies, before her ashes even arrive at the house. The childhood best friend moves in. 1 year later, they get married, and you're specifically told not to come to the wedding. But his new wife's entire family, they're all invited. This is the story of a daughter who lost her mother to cancer and her father to betrayal. A story about promises broken, families replaced, and the moment you realize the parent who raised you has erased you from their new life. Let me take you back to 2013. Our storyteller, let's call her Emma, is rescued from a life-threatening situation with her biological father. Emergency custody is granted to her mother, and her mother's husband, her stepdad, steps up in a way most biological fathers never do. He takes Emma in, raises her as his own biological child, becomes the father she never had. Emma starts calling him dad because that's what he is, not biologically, but in every way that matters. He's there, he's present, he's a father. This man saved Emma, gave her a stable home, a loving family, a chance at a normal life after trauma. Emma's mother had married him in 2006 or 2007. They built a life together. They had a friend group. And in that friend group was a woman named Shelley, Dad's childhood best friend. Shelley had kids. Emma became best friends with Shelley's daughter, Laura. By 2013, Emma and Laura were inseparable, always at each other's houses. The families were intertwined. But Emma's mother noticed something strange, something that would become important later. Shelley always treated Emma differently than the other kids, not as warmly, not as inclusively. Emma's mother saw it even back then. Late 2021, Emma's mother is diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, not stage 1 where there's hope, not stage 2 where there's time, stage 4, the kind where the cancer has already spread. The kind where the only option is chemo and prayer. The doctors give it their best shot. The chemo gives Emma's mother an additional 2.5 years, 2.5 precious borrowed years. By July 2024, they've reached the end. Emma's mother is in hospice. The final month has arrived. Emma is there, of course she's there. And Laura, Emma's best friend, Shelley's daughter, is there too. Emma invited her because they're inseparable, because Laura has been part of their family, because Emma's mother actually enjoyed having her there. Emma's mother and stepdad seem to be doing akish considering the circumstances. That's the word Emma uses, akish. They're holding it together as best they can while watching death approach. And then Emma's mother hits the peak of hospice decline. She enters severe psychosis. She's talking to people who aren't there. She thinks she needs to go to work. She thinks she needs to call someone. Her mind is fracturing under the weight of what's happening to her body. They need help. They call Shelley because Shelley works in hospice. She knows how to handle this, and Shelley helps. She really does help. Emma's mother passes away in July 2024. But before she dies, Emma's mother has a conversation, the last deep conversation, with Emma and Laura present. Emma's mother is sobbing. She's terrified, not just of dying, though that's terrifying enough. She's terrified of what comes after. She tells them her fear that after she's gone, Dad will marry Shelley. Let that sink in. A dying woman's worst fear isn't death itself. It's that her husband will replace her with his childhood best friend. This isn't paranoia. This isn't cancer-induced delusion. This is a woman who's been watching the dynamics in her marriage, in her friend group, in the way Shelley looks at her husband. Emma's mother voices this concern directly to Dad, too, multiple conversations. She tells him she's scared this will happen. And Dad keeps assuring everyone, it won't happen, I promise, it won't happen. Multiple times to his dying wife, to his daughter, to anyone who asks, it won't happen. Emma's mother dies in July 2024, still afraid, but holding onto her husband's promise. 1 month later, August 2024, Laura is getting married. Emma goes to the wedding to support her best friend. And while making small talk with Shelley, Emma learns something that destroys her. Shelley has moved in with Dad. They're a couple now. Let me repeat that with the timeline clear. Emma's mother died in July. Her ashes haven't even been returned to the house yet. And Shelley has already moved in. Not 6 months later, not a year later, not after a respectful period of grieving. 30 days. 30 days after promising his dying wife this wouldn't happen, Dad moved his childhood best friend into the house Emma's mother bought. Emma calls her husband and cries. Because what else can you do when you realize your mother's worst fear came true before her ashes even arrived home? Emma notes in her story, "Yes, I am aware that my dad is a grown adult man who is almost 50 and can make his own choices. It just still hurts and bothers me." She's already been conditioned to minimize her own feelings, to acknowledge his rights before her pain. That's how much this has broken her. Christmas comes. Dad sends Emma photos. He's at a cabin with Shelley. Romantic photos. Couple photos, happy new relationship photos. But this isn't just any cabin. This is the cabin, the one Dad had booked to take Emma's mother to before she died in July. The romantic getaway that was supposed to be their final vacation together. And now he's there with Shelley, using the reservation meant for his dying wife to romance his childhood best friend. Dad could explain it away. Don't waste a good vacation. But the principle, as Emma says, is that it was for her mother. Then Dad sells the house. The house Emma's mother bought. The house that holds all their memories. The house where Emma grew up. Gone, he and Shelley plan to build their own house, a new house, a fresh start. No ghosts. No memories of the wife who came before. And then there's the dog. Emma's mother had this dog since 2016. Got her during Emma's senior year of high school. Dad claimed to love this dog. He rehomes her. The dog Emma's mother wanted. The dog that's been part of their family for 8 years. Gone. Every trace of Emma's mother is being systematically erased. The house, the dog, the vacation plans, everything that said she was here, she mattered, we loved her is being eliminated. And Emma is being erased too. They talk about Dad visiting Emma. He says he will, he promises, it never happens. But Dad has zero issue getting his passport and flying to Canada to visit Laura and her husband. Laura, Shelley's daughter, Emma's best friend, who is now apparently the daughter Dad prefers. Dad goes MIA for long stretches, and every phone call Emma gets from him fills her with dread because it's never about her. It's never asking how she's doing, if she's okay, if she needs anything. It's just updates. Updates about him and his new family, Shelley and her kids, his new life. Emma says she's been written off. That's the phrase she uses, written off. And here's the devastating part. When Emma's mother was dying, Emma voiced this exact fear. She told Dad, "I'm worried you're going to forget about me." And Dad promised it wouldn't happen, just like he promised he wouldn't marry Shelley. Emma gets excuses now. Too busy. Too much is going on. He's too busy to visit his daughter, the daughter he raised as his own, the daughter who was there through her mother's entire cancer journey. But he's not too busy to fly to Canada for his new stepdaughter. A week ago, Emma gets a phone call. Dad is calling with news. Laura is coming to visit. And Dad and Shelley are getting married. Laura got ordained so she can perform the ceremony. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that special? And then Dad says the words that complete Emma's erasure. Don't come, it's just a small thing, very unofficial. Don't come to your father's wedding, the father who raised you as his own. Don't come, it's small, he says, unofficial, just them, nothing big. Emma accepts this. What choice does she have? She's been conditioned to accept the scraps she's given. And then today happens. Dad shares photos, talks about the ceremony. And Emma sees the truth. It wasn't small. It wasn't just them. It wasn't unofficial. Dad's family was there. Shelley's family was there. All 3 of Shelley's kids were there, including Laura, of course. Emma's best friend who got ordained specifically for this wedding. Everyone was invited. Everyone except Emma. The daughter Dad raised as his own wasn't welcome at his wedding. But his new wife's entire family, they were there. Emma has been replaced. Explicitly, publicly, completely, Emma's husband thinks she should cut contact, be done with it, protect herself from further pain, but Emma can't, because she wants to respect her mother's wishes with keeping in contact. Even from the grave, Emma is prioritizing her mother's needs over her own well-being. Her mother is gone, and Emma is still trying to maintain a relationship for her sake. Emma says talking to Dad about any of this is out of the question, because she'll be seen as starting drama and having issues for no reason. For no reason. As if being excluded from your father's wedding, watching him replace your mother 30 days after her death, seeing him erase every trace of your mother's existence, being written off in favor of his new stepdaughter, watching him break every promise he made to your dying mother, as if all of that is no reason. Emma has been so thoroughly gaslit, so completely conditioned, that she genuinely believes expressing hurt over this betrayal would be starting drama. Let's be clear about what happened here, because the timeline matters. Emma's mother is dying and voices her fear that Dad will marry Shelley. Dad promises repeatedly it won't happen. Less than 30 days after Emma's mother dies, before her ashes arrive, Shelley moves in. Dad uses the romantic cabin reservation meant for Emma's mother to vacation with Shelley instead. Dad sells Emma's mother's house, rehomes her dog, and erases every trace of her existence. Dad makes plans to visit Emma but never follows through. Instead, he flies internationally to visit his new stepdaughter. Dad gets married and specifically tells Emma not to come, claiming it's small and unofficial. Then he invites his entire extended family and Shelley's entire family. Emma's best friend, who's known about Emma's pain this entire time, gets ordained to perform the ceremony that excludes Emma. This isn't just moving on. This isn't just grief taking different forms. This is systematic erasure. This is replacement. This is a man who made promises to his dying wife and broke every single one before her ashes came home. Remember what Emma's mother noticed years ago, that Shelley always treated Emma differently than the other kids. Emma's mother saw something. Even back then, she saw the way Shelley looked at her husband. She saw the dynamics. She saw that Emma, the non-biological child, wasn't fully accepted by Shelley. And on her deathbed, she voiced her fear because she knew. Dying people often see clearly what the living refuse to acknowledge. She knew Shelley wanted her husband. She knew the friendship was something more. She knew that after she died, she'd be replaced. And she was right about all of it. But here's the part that's almost worse. Did Dad know? When he was promising his dying wife this wouldn't happen, did he already know it would? Was he already emotionally involved with Shelley while Emma's mother was dying? Is that why Shelley was so present during hospice? So helpful, so available? Was Emma's mother being replaced even before she died? Let's talk about Laura for a moment, Emma's best friend, the one who was there for Emma's mother's final month, the one Emma invited because they were inseparable. Laura knew everything. She was there for the conversation where Emma's mother sobbed about her fear of Dad marrying Shelley. She saw Emma's pain when she found out about the relationship in August. She knows Emma has been excluded and hurt, and Laura got ordained to perform her mother's wedding to Emma's father. The wedding Emma was specifically told not to attend. Laura chose her mother over her best friend, chose to participate in Emma's exclusion, chose to be central to the event that completed Emma's erasure. That's not a best friend. That's a co-conspirator. The question Emma needs to answer. Emma ends her story by saying she doesn't know what to do, that she wants to respect her mother's wishes about keeping in contact. But here's what Emma needs to understand. Her mother's wishes were based on a version of Dad that doesn't exist anymore. Her mother thought she was married to a man of integrity, a man who would keep his promises, a man who would continue to love and prioritize the daughter he raised. That man is gone, if he ever existed. The man who exists now broke every promise to his dying wife, moved his mistress in before his wife's ashes arrived, erased every trace of his wife's existence, replaced his daughter with his new wife's daughter, specifically excluded his daughter from his wedding while inviting everyone else. That man doesn't deserve contact. That man doesn't deserve the gift of Emma's presence in his life. Emma's mother would be devastated to see what's happened. She wouldn't want Emma to maintain contact with someone who's treating her like this. She'd want Emma to protect herself. Final thought, so here's what I want to ask you. What would you tell Emma to do? Should she keep trying to maintain contact with a father who's made it clear she's been written off? Should she respect the wishes of a mother who didn't know her husband would betray everything they built together? Should she forgive a man who promised his dying wife he wouldn't do exactly what he did 30 days after her death? Or should she honor her mother by refusing to accept this betrayal? By recognizing that keeping someone in your life who treats you like you're disposable isn't love, it's self-destruction. Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever lost a parent and watched the surviving parent replace them, replace your entire family, share your story, because grief is real. Moving on is natural. But erasing someone you claim to love before their ashes even arrive, that's not grief. That's something else entirely. Thanks for watching.